I know that I've said in the past that I will mostly focus on indie titles in the demo diving series, but as an old fan of the Dynasty Warriors franchise, I was pretty excited to see that a demo had come out for their newest iteration, and I felt like I was really trying to get back into the series after what was basically a 20-year hiatus of me avoiding the main series, which of course doesn't include the Gundam, Fire Emblem, or Zelda versions. As many already know, Koei Tecmo develops a ton of games revolving around various IPs in anime that will see you play as a one-man army in their stories. Unfortunately, many of their most recent games revolving around Dynasty Warriors has been met with a lot of criticism, but given that it has been so long, I decided to scratch that itch. So let's jump on in and see if some lessons have been learned. In Dynasty Warriors Origin, you play as a non-named protagonist in your journey that may allow you to potentially flow between the various factions that rise and fall during this chaotic period in time. And super long story short, during the time of the demo, you are facing off against Dong Shuo and the coalition that will end up tearing itself apart before defeating their common enemy. But it still allows you to see major characters like Cao Cao, Guan Yu, Liu Bei, and many others that would keep the list going given how important they all become to the future of China. You get to choose from an array of weapons and special attacks, as well as your starting location to set off for the Battle of Sishui Gate? I hope I'm pronouncing that right, but I'm a white guy, so likelihood is I'm not. Anyways, gone are the days of button mashing, and here, hopefully to stay, is what I would have to refer to as strategic button mashing. The hordes of nameless foes still wither easily under your blade, however, fighting the named heroes or even captains require a little more strategy and timing of parrying and abilities in order to ensure that you come out on top. Swift decision making is also important, as if you neglect the battlefield you will start to lose important characters who are vital in your push for victory, but with every step I took forward I knew what was waiting for me at the gate. Nevertheless, I pressed onwards trying to learn the new abilities like commanding a squad of soldiers to charge, launch a volley of arrows, or even surround a target, alongside an array of abilities at my disposal that are used to devastating effect. Eventually I make my way to the final push, and during this time we see several engaging aspects like one-on-one duels and enemy abilities that have a variety of requirements to be met in order to be stopped. Through so much time and grinding, the battle is at its end and we seemingly achieve victory. But if you know these games, there's always one name that strikes fear into even the most grizzled veterans. With Lu Bu here, I'm ready to take on this final challenge. Okay, well, I wasn't really prepared for just how strong he would be, so I started up again and I go through the entire mission, this time making sure to capture everything and ensure that we are at our strongest before engaging in the final battle. Being met with the one known as the Peerless ended with a very similar result. A third attempt was made, and this time I made sure to restock on healing supplies and I was determined to win. Eventually the battlefield was just Lu Bu and myself, and I was feeling good until... A quick search seems to have a ton of people struggling to beat him, and I do think he's buffed a bit more than he will normally be in the game because it is a challenge to add to the demo, but even if this is how strong he normally is, it wouldn't deter me from firing the game back up and giving it another 10 chances before maybe giving up. In the end, there's a lot to like about Dynasty Warriors Origin, as it seems like Koei Tecmo finally nailed down the right combination of challenging and fun. The voice acting is almost mandatory to not be in English, not really because the English is bad, but it really helps to add on to the immersion of the game. The Three Kingdoms period of Chinese history is what you would get if you made Game of Thrones 100 times more intense and actually have it make sense, and it sometimes makes me wonder if another game is necessary in the series that is pushing 30 years old. However, graduating from being more than a button masher I was familiar with, this new approach to not only combat but also to the narrative, by mainly focusing on half the novel most of the games take inspiration from, it allows you to fully experience this chaotic time in Chinese history. The result really culminates into what will likely be one of next year's early hit games when it releases on January 16th. But that'll be it for this video. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and as always, be kind to one another. Shoutouts go to Relativity, Naughty Dog is King, Chaos, and Kamikolo, alongside all those subbed to the channel. Stick around for my next video that will have a special guest help me count down the top 10 games of the year, so I will see you soon.